Hello everyone, welcome back to more 428 Shibuya Scramble. Last time we did the tutorial. This time we play the game. Yeah, it's good. I like how it's not the title theme, not the title screen music. So let's get right into it. Let's see what Kano's up to again. Also, if I falter at any point during this, know that it's because I had Novocaine running through my mouth. Just got fillings done today, and my mouth is kind of sore. So let's move this closer to the mic so I don't have to project nearly as much. As he wandered through the back alleys, Kano gritted his teeth. Going after the guy on the bike had been a bad judgment call. Yeah, my mouth is doing fine. I'm able to speak. I don't have to do this British accent really badly throughout the stream. I noticed. Okay, so let me have this on record, actually. I'm going to switch to FaceTime real quick. So, you know, sometimes I have to, like, put something in my mouth, like a small little flashlight. And if I have to speak while I have a flashlight in my mouth, I realize it's much easier to talk like this if I have a flashlight in my mouth. If I have a small little object. Now I realize how they speak over there. They just don't move their lower jaw. Anyways. Oh, that's not the screen. Here's the screen. As he wandered through the back alleys, Kano gritted his teeth. Going after the guy on the bike had been a bad judgment call. And also, that same thing with my mouth, with my lower jaw not moving while I have something in my mouth, also applies to when my my lower jaw is numb. By the time he got back up on the pedestrian overpass, the man who'd thrown the attaché case was almost out of sight. Yes, it's mainly for when I have what the fuck do you call it? When I have this on. That is not in the correct position. I need to edit that as soon as possible. But yeah, it's mainly for when that is on. But I keep it on just because. Also, welcome finally to chat. Oh, that I need to actually click into the game. to make inputs into the game. Kano prided himself on being fleet of foot, but he knew even he would never catch the guy before he disappeared. He'd followed the culprit as far as the alleys, but he'd lost him completely. All he could do now was hope one of his colleagues caught the man on the motorcycle. Yes. That was a blunder on my part. I thought it was either the account would have to be 6 months. Either they would have to be following me for 3 months, or they would have to have their Twitch account made for like 6 months. So I thought it was an either or. Turns out it was one of them. One of them was preceding the other. Kuze's voice crackled through the earpiece. It was both at the same time, but realistically, if you were following me, like, no, if you weren't following me, then you wouldn't be able to chat. So they were both on, but one of them was like clear. Like, it made the other setting useless. So I just turned the one that required you to be following me off. Mobile Command Center calling all units! The suspect on the motorcycle had handed off the case to an accomplice in Miyashita Park, another foreigner. Oh wait, no. Mobile Command Center calling all units. The suspect on the motorcycle has handed off the case to an accomplice in Miyashita Park, another foreigner. For real? Kano muttered. One thing immediately struck him as strange. Why hand the case off to someone else at all? Why not just escape on the bike? The man with the motorcycle dumped the bike and fled on foot. We've retrieved the bike and run the plate, and we've determined it was a stolen vehicle. The advanced police communication system is carefully maintained. By using the digital wireless systems in their patrol cars, officers are able to directly access the station's computer network, allowing them to quickly check to see if an individual is on the wanted list or if a vehicle is stolen. We still don't have enough details to positively ID the subject. Should I be giving Kuze his excited voice? Should I be giving him his regular tone? The suspect now carrying the attaché case is headed through Dokenzaka, also on foot. We've got him under observation. Dokenzaka, huh? That wasn't too far from where Kano was now. It looks like we're dealing with a foreign crime syndicate that's familiar with Shibuya. I want to do what's accurate for the game. All units head to Dokenzaka. But do not, I repeat, do not attempt to apprehend the suspect with the case. Let's see where he goes. Kano nodded to himself. Without knowing more about the crook's MO, letting this guy go for now was probably the only right call. I just want you all to know one last thing. Kuze's tone grew more solemn. Whatever happens, I know I can count on each and every one of you. Don't disappoint me. Over and out. Kano had the unsettling feeling that the message had been meant for him. You know what'll actually help my mouth is these fucking lozenges that smell like weed but taste like menthol. Right. It's now or never. The sudden appearance of this syndicate and its bizarre actions were rapidly moving things beyond the jurisdiction of both the MPD and the local police. Mustering his resolve, Kano headed for Dokenzaka. Kano pulled his cell phone out of his pocket. It was Rumi calling. She knew full well he wasn't supposed to take private calls while he was working a case. Maybe it was an emergency? He decided to pick up. Rumi? I'm sorry. Are you in the middle of something right now? Kind of. Is this an emergency? Well, yeah. So I'm in Shibuya right now and... Shibuya? Why did she have to be in Shibuya now of all times? So, my father came down from Nagano and all of a sudden... What? Rumi's father, Shizuo, had been staunchly opposed to the two of them getting married. Kano had visited his home many times, but the man had never even deigned to meet him. Yeah, he told me to tell you he wants to meet with you. What? Now? Kano blurted the words out with more alarm than he'd intended. I told him you were busy working, but he said he'd wait. This can't be happening, Kano whimpered to himself. I'm sorry, I know he can be demanding. That's not the issue. Her dad offering to wait made it harder for him to refuse. Alright, Kano said, but I'll have to call you back later, okay? I really am sorry. I'll be at a cafe called Lautrec. It's by the train station. Rumi hung up. For a long moment, Kano stood in a daze, staring at his phone. As if keeping up with the case wasn't stressful enough. At last, he stumbled into motion, but even as he scoured Dokenzaka for any sign of the criminal, his mind remained fixed on the meeting with Rumi's dad. There was no way of knowing when he'd be done with his casework today. But could he really pass up on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get her father's approval for her hand in marriage? Odds are that this will not be the only once-in-a-lifetime What the fuck is this commentary? Well, odds are that this will not be the only once-in-a-lifetime experience Detective Kano winds up having today. Maybe he could slip away for just a bit. There were plenty of detectives still tailing the suspect. Taking 15 minutes or so to meet with Shizuo wouldn't be such a big deal, would it? Fuck it. It's now or never, Kano decided. His future happiness depended on winning over Shizuo. He might not have the opportunity later if the kidnapping case wound up going south. He'd just have to make sure he didn't linger too long. He was trying to decide the best way to save as much time as possible, when he caught sight of a taxi passing by. He stepped out into the street to flag the cab down. The station wasn't too far away, but it would be faster to take a car than run there. The taxi screeched to a halt. "Careful, buddy," shouted the cab driver through the open window. "You're gonna get yourself killed." Looking more closely, Kano saw that there was already someone in the back seat. Well, crap. He had to consider that the cab might already be taken. Still, he didn't have time to wait for another to come along. Kano leaned in close to the back door of the taxi. "Please, I need you to let me have this cab." Beggars couldn't be choosers after all. "No way," snapped the passenger. He didn't seem the genial type. "Please, I'm begging you here." "Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab." "I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please, this is really, really urgent." "Urgent?" "Yes, it's a matter of life or death. Please." "Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here too." "Then let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here." "Sorry, buddy. It's life or death on my end too. I gotta look after me and mine." Kano could see this was going nowhere. "Right. So sorry to trouble you." Kano stepped back in frustration. The taxi sped away. Kano scanned the area looking for other cabs. Instead, he spotted the man with the attaché case. Ooh. That's me when I have an attaché case in hand. It was a stroke of dumb luck, but Kano wasn't going to lose sight of him now. He decided to follow. Further up along Dogenzaka, in the direction the perp was headed, was where Yamate Dori joined Route 246. Maybe the guy was planning to meet up with the getaway car? No, wait, hold on. If that were the plan, why would the gang have ditched the motorcycle earlier? Kano started tailing the man, racking his brain all the while. The suspect turned down a narrow side road. He wasn't headed towards Yamate-dori or Route 246 at all, but back towards Shibuya Station. What in the world was going on? I was starting to feel like the crooks were just messing with the investigation team. Kano radioed Kuze on the wireless. "The police wireless system is digital. In order to make transmissions more difficult to intercept, there are several different channels available, including the basic local channel, a common channel for contacting other nearby patrol cars, channels assigned to specific precincts, action update channels for riot squads, and so on. There's also a separate channel specifically for kidnapping cases, not on the standard wavelengths." "Sir, I don't think there's any point in seeing where this guy leads us anymore." "That's not your call to make. Keep watching him." "Sir, this is a waste of time. That girl might be in danger if..." Kano's argument was cut short as he saw the man hand off the attaché case to yet another foreigner. Again? How many times were these criminals going to pull this trick? The detectives broke into two groups to follow both of the men. Kano followed the man with the attaché case, who eventually led him back to the area around Shibuya Station. Rumi and Shizuo should be waiting at a nearby cafe right now. Kano tried to remember the name. That's right, it was called Lautrec. The name of the cafe where college student Ryoko Kakinuma works as a waitress, named after 19th century French painter Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. He created numerous works, including many posters, book illustrations, and book covers, which are highly regarded in the art world. Henri. I can appreciate a guy named Henri. He kept his eye out for a place by that name as he tailed the target. Before long, he did spot the cafe. Its large plate glass window offered a view of the cozy interior. The sign out front read, Lautrec. He looked like this was the place. The man with the case was at the intersection, waiting for the light to change. Kano took the opportunity to peer inside. He spotted Rumi right away. She was facing away from him. So the man seated across from her must be her father. Kano realized he'd never even seen a picture of him. Shizuo grew organic produce in Nagano nowadays, but until 2 years ago he'd been a detective with the Investigation Division. MPD Investigation Division, responsible for MPD Investigative Division, responsible for handling crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and arson that take place within the Tokyo metropolis. Truly exceptional officers are assigned to this division. They are regularly dispatched to various regional task forces to aid in investigations, where their talent and experience are often proved critical. The position of section chief is traditionally given only to dedicated personnel well-versed with crime scenes and organizational administration. Rumi looked up to her father for his distinguished police career and always spoke quite highly of him. Kano had figured that if he became a policeman, Rumi might appreciate that. It was this simple impulse that led him to join the force. He had also figured that public servants could stay afloat even in times of recession, and that his physical training would serve him well in such a line of work. Once he was a policeman, he thought he could approach Shizuo with his head held high and ask for his blessing in marrying his daughter. But after Rumi graduated from university, Shizuo had up and retired from police work. Even Rumi didn't know why he'd made the decision. Kano had traveled to Nagano many times to ask Shizuo for permission to marry her, but the only response he ever got was, "I'm not giving away my daughter to any cop." Kano had never even gotten past the intercom before her father turned him away. Years on the force had nearly made Kano lose sight of what had driven him to become a policeman in the first place. And now the chance to meet Shizuo face to face had finally come. He peered intently into the cafe. Across from Rumi sat an older man with a grim expression. Just who was this hard-faced fellow? It took a lot to rattle Kano, but the guy looked scary. Could this really be his sweet little Rumi's father? The prospect of meeting with him later filled Kano with sudden dread. The man went into the JR Shibuya station and stood before the ticket machine. Haha, bald spot. I shouldn't be, I'm literally in the fucking glass house right now. I shouldn't be doing that shit. It looked like he was planning on boarding a train. A scene from a popular movie about kidnapping sprang into Kano's mind, where the crook had made off with the ransom money after it was tossed out of the window of a train. That reminds me of a story of Jack Churchill, no relation to Winston Churchill, where this guy, you know, in his retirement, he had a briefcase that he would commute with, and at a certain point during his commute, he would chuck his briefcase out of the window, and it would end up landing in his backyard, because he didn't want to have to carry the briefcase from the train station to his house because his house is also on the way of the train station. You should look up Jack Churchill. He's a very interesting man. He fought in World War II with a claymore and bagpipes. What if this guy managed to get outside the dragnet and pull a stunt like that? Looks like the suspect is going to board a train. Kano informed Kuze over the wireless. Make sure you stay on his tail. Apparently Kuze still wanted to string the perp along for a bit. We've got the lizards ready to pursue. The lizards? Lizard. Japanese police lingo for motorcycle squads deployed to pursue suspects in urban settings. We'll reestablish our dragnet around whatever station he gets cut off at. The man purchased a ticket from the machine and passed through the gate. There was no way to tell what station he'd bought a ticket for, but it looked like he was heading clockwise along the Yamanote line loop. Kano used his prepaid card and made his way through the ticket gate as well. Officers do not actually get free rides on public transportation simply by flashing their badges, as is frequently depicted in TV shows and films. Doing so might risk alerting the suspect. For this reason, prepaid cards are provided ahead of time. I feel like you should just get one as a police officer, just because you're like a public servant. You're like, assumedly, like as a citizen, your tax dollars are going to both the public transit and the police officers because they are civil servants. So it would make no sense for a civil servant to give money to... Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to square that circle. An announcement chime signaled the imminent arrival of a train up on the platform. Right, I know what the point is, but I'm just wondering if they give it to you as a police officer, or if it like comes free with your employment as a police officer, or if they give it to you specifically for these types of investigations and operations. This has made me think of police work in a much more operational way that I don't think I've ever thought of. The man made his way up the stairs looking calm and composed. He showed no sign of checking for pursuers. Kano hurried after him. The man stopped at the very edge of the platform to await the train. Not ideal. There was no way for Kano to get close without sticking out like a sore thumb. The train glided up to the platform. The man gave a quick look around as he stepped aboard. Kano followed. Trains on the Yamanote line didn't stop for long, and soon they were on their way. Glancing around, Kano noticed other MPD investigators who had slipped aboard the train as well. The suspect stood behind the driver's compartment, staring contemplatively at the scenery outside. The man's composure only served to rattle Kano more. A man in a gaudy necktie walked past Kano talking on his cell phone. Yes, everything's going fine on this end, he said. There's no need to worry. In his other hand, he carried the same sort of attaché case as the man they were tailing. He headed right towards the driver's compartment and stood next to the suspect. Well, now that's not suspicious. That's the delivery. Speaking of delivery, Kano leaned his head subtly, straining to make out what he could of the phone conversation at the other end of the car. Yes, of course. 212 pages, all fully proofread. That's not 212, that's 225. How did I get 212 from that? All fully proofread. 225. Oh, is this a Goro Owase thing? No, it's a penal code thing. Article 225 of the Penal Code of Japan details kidnapping for profit and kidnapping for ransom. Accordingly, 225 is police code for kidnapping. That was police jargon for kidnapping. Okay, you didn't have to make me read that twice. Was this guy in cahoots with the kidnapper? Maybe the criminals had planned an attaché case swap. Kano watched the newcomer like a hawk. But rather than making contact with the suspect, the man turned around and strolled back the way he came. He hadn't done anything suspicious at all. Yes. Yes, right. Understood. Kano stole a glimpse of the man's face as he passed. He stopped and looked at Kano, seemingly aware that he was being watched. Kano decided to... Ooh. Let's be confrontational. Kano decided to stare him down. Ah, my apologies, the man said. He shut his phone with a click. I know it's rather rude to talk on one's cell phone when you're on a train. That's just common decency. The man affected a smile, then headed back to the car from which he'd come. Sheesh. Guess I overreacted. You gotta stop staring at everyone. An oddly dressed passenger murmured into Kano's ear. Blend into your surroundings more. Sasayama? When his partner had somehow found time to change his disguise. The steely expression on his face was at odds with his anime nerd getup. Kano had seen Sasayama disguise himself as plenty of things throughout the years. What the fuck? It's quite rare for Sasayama. It's quite rare. I don't know why I'm laughing so much. It's not even that funny. Oh, it's quite rare for Sasayama to actually wear a suit. On the rare occasions when he does, he's walking the halls of his home precinct. He frequently goes unrecognized. Here are some of Sasayama's costumes. Costume designs from his evidence notebook. My god, these are amazing. Jesus Christ. Chef, magician, samurai, and astronaut, to name a few. This was a new extreme, even for him. When he first joined the force, Kano had found Sasayama's costuming antics amusing, wondering where he'd managed to find his outfits. But lately his quirk had become tedious. You like the ocean? You like the ocean? Huh? Never mind. Sasayama pulled a small bottle from his breast pocket. Drink this while you can. Guessing you haven't eaten. Huh? What's this? Least I could do. He handed Kano the bottle, then slipped away into the next compartment. Yeah, but like, sometimes Kodaka humor is like so bad that you just... But like, sometimes it hits, and when it hits... He pulled an all-nighter and he hadn't eaten, so he was glad to have something. He took a sip. Whatever it was bland. It almost didn't taste like anything. Just what had Sasayama given him? What the heck, anything's better than nothing. He brought the bottle to his lips and chugged the contents down. He suddenly got a massive head rush. Okay. He felt a heat. A heat like a burning that spread from his insides throughout his whole body. No, that wasn't right. It was an ache. It was a ferocious ache. A burning that spread from his insides to his fingertips. And there was pain. A numbing that spread from his insides all the way down to his toes. Burning, aching, hurting. Burning, aching, hurting. Burning, aching, hurting. Twitchy, itchy, dizzy, sleepy, chilly, willy-nilly. This was not good. Arson's not good. What the fuck is going on? This was super duper not good. He broke into a cold sweat, his forehead drenched, his body damp and clammy all over. He felt his grip on consciousness slipping. Sasayama, what the hell did you do to me? With bleary eyes, he squinted to read the writing on the bottle. Burn? After a scant few letters, Kano blacked out. Brother, what the fuck? Kano blacked out after drinking an unknown substance without checking to see what it was. What he drank, it turns out, was a free sample of something called Burning Hammer. But don't blame Sasayama. He was just passing along the sample he got from someone in a mascot costume. Ooh. Well then. I think it's time we focus on Tama. This is some nice tilt shift photography. It's so hot. It's so hot in this thing. Way too hot. I feel like I'm sitting in a sauna. Everyone else on the street looks nice and cool. But here I am getting treated to my very own personal midsummer heat wave. Yeah. On top of that, I can barely see. I can barely breathe, for that matter. But hey, what can I do? I am so thirsty. Some iced tea would be amazing right now. I'm going to pass out from dehydration at this point. I may as well admit it. I underestimated how tough this would be. Who knew wearing a mascot costume could be so uncomfortable? A delicate young lady like myself has no business doing this sort of job. Suddenly have so much respect for the people on those superhero team shows. Like, can you imagine doing action scenes in something like this? Heck. All I'm doing is standing here and I'm this close to calling it quits. But I can't. I need the work. I need the money. This is no time to be a wuss. If I give up on this, what else am I possibly going to do? Check out the new revolutionary diet drink, Burning Hammer! I thrust a free sample toward a passerby while shouting as loud as I can. That's a nice voice crack. A free portion, usually quite small, of a product given out to consumers, as a sales gimmick. Allows them to test the quality and effect of a cosmetic or health product prior to purchase. Frequently referred to as a trial size or freebie version of the product. In addition to passing out free samples on the streets, some shops also include free samples with purchased products. Please note that simply taking a product without paying for it in order to test it out is theft. Don't do it. Need water, something to drink. Come on and give it a try. Oh, It's no use. People just walk by one after the other and avoid looking at the sample. It's been like this ever since I started standing here. What gives? You'd figure at least one person would have taken a bottle by now. I mean, it's free, but I haven't managed to give away a single one. If this keeps up, there's no way I'm getting paid. And then this whole miserable experience will have been all for nothing. Just drink this and watch the pounds melt away! No exercising or dieting necessary. I can hear the desperation in my own voice. Just burn, burn, burn! Burn those pounds away! They're giving me cold looks now. Probably think I'm some shyster trying to offload dodgy product. It's that simple. That's simple, folks. You just drink the weight away. I guarantee it. Heck, this whole thing reeks of a scam to me, too. In other words, it seems extremely dubious or suspicious. The word scam, referring to a type of dishonest scheme, is actually of unknown origin. Several folk etymologies have been proposed, including that it comes from a simple shortening of scandalous misdeeds, but these claims have little evidence to support them. Losing weight by drinking some concoction is way too good to be true. But still, free is free. You'd think I'd be able to give one or two away. It's not like I'm not trying. Okay, pep talk time. You can do this. Think about the money. Just start with one bottle. Alright, I'm going to give this bottle away to the next person I see, no matter what. I close my eyes and gather my determination. I just need to get started, and the momentum will build from there. Alright, eyes open. There are two people walking in my direction. Wait, two? Oh no, which one do I pick? If I keep waffling, they're both going to pass me by. I just need to hand this bottle off. Which one of these guys looks more likely to take it? Clutching the free sample in my furry fist. I try to force it on the businessman to my left. Here you go, sir. A free sample of Burning Hammer, the latest and greatest diet drink. The businessman flashes me a look of utter contempt and makes a point of avoiding me as he slips past. Damn, there goes the wind right out of my sails. I wonder how the other mascot is doing about now. There's also a demo happening today at 1 o'clock at the Nokane building. Huh. Looks like the chicken has handed out all kinds of samples. I don't get it. How come nobody is taking any of mine? What could I be possibly be doing wrong? I look at the clock. It's a little after 11. My morning of wandering around hawking diet drinks is just about over. I'll need to get ready to head over to the sales demo. I'd love to take the costume off, but then I'd have to carry it. The samples I haven't given out are almost too heavy as it is. Oh well. I might not have gotten results, but I tried my best. I sure hope they didn't withhold my pay or anything. Hey, what gives? You got that many left? The chicken speaks with a female voice. Yeah, I reply sheepishly. Nobody seems to want to take mine. Well, I mean, are you looking for the right targets? Huh? Like, groups of girls or bored-looking older ladies. Those are the types you gotta be gunning for, you know? Wow, I hadn't even considered that. Now that she says it, it seems so obvious. This is a diet drink, after all. Of course, I'm not gonna have any luck trying to foist it on random guys. Well, whatever, the chicken says. Here, give me the samples you've got left. I hand over my samples, and the chicken dumps the whole lot into her basket. I'll drink whatever's left so they don't find out you didn't pass them out, she says. Huh? Wait, like all of them? Yeah, all of them. The chicken sounds pretty confident in herself. These may just be sample-sized bottles, but still, they add up to a lot. I can feel myself on the brink of tears at the kindness of her offer. Thank you so much. That's a huge help. I bow deeply, which makes my mascot head wobble. That's a bad idea. Leaving the station behind, we head down Center Guide towards the Nokane building. A multi-tenant office building in Udagawacho, located in Center Guy, Shibuya's downtown district. In addition to hosting the weight loss drink sales demo, the building is also home to the foreign capital protection firm Japan Cellcom, the IT mainstay Shibuya OnNet, Sun, video game developer Shindai Tradco, and Strikeback Labs, publisher of the monthly magazine Science Strikes Back, along with many other businesses. There's also a Starbucks. The Burning Hammer sales demo is going to be held there this afternoon. The job's supposed to pay 10,000 yen for the day, but if we can sell at least 100 bottles at the demo, they've promised another 10,000 on top of that. I need to make sure I sell those 100 bottles. I need that 20,000 yen, and I need it ASAP. We arrive at the Nokane building, a run-down multi-tenant office complex. We head into the room where the Burning Hammer sales demo is taking place. There are already about 50 seats set out. I wonder how many people the free samples will pull in. A stage has been set up at the far end of the room. That's where I'm going to be standing, sipping Burning Hammer while explaining its effects to the customers. Hurry up and take that thing off. The chicken flaps her wings as she speaks. It's kinda early, but come on, let's have lunch. I'm starving. Now that she mentions it, I realize I'm pretty hungry myself. The demo's not starting for another 2 hours. I can't win a war against my stomach for that long. The chicken and I head to the waiting room where they set out our lunches for us. Mind getting back real quick? The chicken asks. Mind getting my back real quick? The chicken asks. She arches her back toward me. Apparently she can't reach her own zipper. Oh sure, just give me a sec. I try to unzip the back of the chicken suit, but my own suit's thick furry fingers have a hard time of it. What's the holdup? Come on, I'm roasting in this thing. Hurry up and get it off me. I've almost got it. It's just awkward with these mitts. Finally, I get a hold of the zipper and yank it downward. A girl emerges from the chicken as if the chicken itself were an egg. Whew! I'm alive! Her red sweatshirt is drenched in sweat. Almost at once, she's kicking back and cooling off with a hand fan. Sorry, but would you mind getting me too? I ask. Yeah, okay. I turn my back to the girl. I hear metal clacking behind me. At long last, I'm about to be free of this 5-ton fursuit. Huh? The girl murmurs awkwardly. Huh? What? Spike of anxiety hits me. What's wrong? I ask. Yeah, that's a no-go. Zipper's busted. Oh no! What? Yeah, sorry, this thing ain't coming off. My vision goes dark. No, no, no! I tug desperately at the costume, but no luck. I'm trapped inside. Oh, what the crap? Oh, well, we can talk to the boss about it when he gets back, the girl says. I mean, it's not like we can cut it off of you with scissors or anything. She sounds entirely unconcerned. It's so unfair. I need to get out of this stuffy, sweltering steam bath as soon as possible. All I can do is clench my fist in impotent rage. But anyway, good work out there today, the girl continues. I'm Chiriko Osugi, by the way. You can just call me Chiri. She smiles as she introduces herself. I mean, I'm a pretty cheery gal after all. She breaks into a hearty guffaw. Oh sure, I say, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, for sure. So I guess you're not going to be able to eat lunch in that getup, huh? Huh? Yeah, that's right. What should I do? Don't sweat it, just leave it to me. Huh? I'll eat both lunches myself. Ugh. Cheery doesn't even wait for me to reply before reaching for my lunch. It'd be a shame to let it go to waste, she says. She makes it sound like leftover food is a bigger concern than my hunger. I can feel my appetite stirring all the more as she devours my meal with a satisfied grin on her face. A faint, pathetic gurgle rises from my belly. It's just a cheap little prepackaged box lunch, but right now it looks like a feast. Oh, that is under my leg. Hold on, I have to adjust that. So, what's your name? Cheery asks. Her cheeks are still packed with rice. My name? Yeah. Oh, it's, As I struggle to think of an answer, my eyes alight on the piece of tamagoyaki clutched between Cheery's chopsticks. The yellow slab of slightly grilled egg wobbles to and fro. I can see the inside from the way it's been sliced. It looks somewhat undercooked. Come on, what's your name? Oh, right, Tama. It's Tama. Huh? You mean like the famous cat? Well, ain't that fitting. Cheery chortles and stuffs the piece of tamagoyaki into her mouth and takes a big swig of iced tea. I am beyond jealous. I wish I could gorge myself on those lunch boxes until I'm full to bursting. Heck, even a cold glass of iced tea would be a lifesaver right now. So thirsty, I'm starting to get all dizzy. Maybe I really am getting dehydrated. This isn't good. If I don't do something, I'm gonna pass out before the sales demo even starts. And then I remember something. The zipper down my back might be busted, but I can still take the head off, right? That way at least I'd be able to eat and drink stuff. Alright. I decide to... rock my head back and forth good and hard. It gives. It won't come free no matter how hard I try to buck it off. And to make things worse, now I got this dull throbbing pain at the back of my head. Like I bumped my head somewhere, but I don't remember doing that recently. Cheery flashes a curious look. What are you doing? She asks. Thought maybe I could at least get the head off. I try pulling again, refusing to give up. That ain't gonna work. That thing's attached to the body. I slump forward in defeat, face planting on the tabletop. Oh! Most folks would have noticed that when they put it on, you know. Well, I didn't. The boss helped me get into this thing. Into it is the thing. Well, don't let it get you down, Cheery says. Here, drink some of this. She pulls a bottle with a straw from her bag and pours some of the tea into it. In a fever of thirst, I jam the plastic straw through the mascot costume's mouth. Thankfully, it reaches as far as my own. I suck for all I'm worth. I do that on weekends, too. I suck, and I suck, and I suck. My body rejoices at as the moisture returns to it, like rain coming to the desert. And thus, I revive. Actually, it kind of does feel like I'm coming back to life. Oh, thank you so much. I'm never going to forget this as long as I live. With tears welling up in my eyes, I clutch Cheery's hand in my fuzzy mitts. Hey, I'm not the kind of person to abandon someone in need, you know, she replies. An embarrassed grin crosses her face. How come you're carrying this bottle around with you anyway, I ask. Oh, that's because I make my own protein juice. In Japan, the word protein is frequently used to refer to a powdered health food supplement that contains vitamins and minerals, as well as a protein component. It is dissolved in milk or another liquid to create a drink. A protein diet typically involves drinking a glass of this in place of a meal. Drinking it in place of tea would assuredly lead to weight gain. Protein juice? Never heard of it. Soya Max. Fiber G. Mild vanilla peach mango, I think. I heard that if you have protein juice for one of your 3 meals a day, you'll lose weight. So yeah, I kind of need to keep it. Given Cheery's sort of, well, chubby frame, I don't think the protein's been working so great for her. I've been trying all sorts of stuff, but right now protein is totally the best thing for my diet. This stuff, though. Cheery casts her eyes on the samples of burning hammer on the table. It's like totally bogus. Huh? Bogus? That's a surprise. Yeah, well, yeah, Cheery says. You gotta exercise if you want to burn body fat. The best way to burn fat is to engage in steady, low-intensity aerobic exercise. After roughly 20 minutes of such exercise, the body burns through its available blood sugar, and the brain sends signals to have fat brought into the bloodstream. This is how fat is burned. Anaerobic exercise, which leaves you panting and breathless, is not effective. Okay. She smacks herself on one flabby arm. I mean, there's no way you're gonna lose weight by taking in more calories. Huh. Didn't you just say she was drinking protein juice just to lose weight? I keep that thought to myself. I mean, that'd be as ridiculous as all-you-can-eat Kobe beef, she adds. She shakes her head seriously. I'm not sure about using all-you-can-eat anything as an example in a discussion about weight loss. But again, I keep the thought to myself. But hey, a job's a job, Cheery says after a moment, perking up again. You tell me to sell all this junk. I'll sell it. A sudden wailing comes from the other side of the door. Please, just give me time. I swear I'll get it back to you. What the heck? Cheery says. Is that the boss? I nod. That's definitely Mr. Yanagishita's voice. He's the guy who hired me. Sidling up alongside Cheery, I very quietly open the door and take a peek inside. Mr. Yanagishita is down on his hands and knees, begging while 2 uncouth-looking men glower at him. Just a little more time, that's all I asked, he pleads. Once I sell this stuff, I can pay you back. I see a tiny bottle of burning hammer in his hand. Just a little more, mimics the middle-aged fellow. I just gotta sell this. You've heard enough out of you. Yeah, the youngster sneers. We ain't giving you any more time, so quit asking. I really just need a little longer time this time. Please, you gotta believe me. From the look of things, Mr. Yanagishita is dealing with some loan sharks. Though it seems obvious that this term refers to toothy predators of the deep, the word shark in this case actually has its origin in an older Germanic word meaning parasite or someone who preys on others. The same word gave rise to the terms pool shark and card shark. In the case of loan sharks, though, the initial mental image seems quite appropriate. And the 2 thugs are clearly in no mood for his continued groveling. Cheery and I exchange a glance. It's probably best if we don't go out there right now. But now I'm really worried. Am I actually going to get paid for this gig? As I'm pondering that, one of the men grabs Yanagishita's by the nape of the neck and drags him to his feet. Come with us, pal. We'll take you someplace you can work off your debts. Say what? Mr. Yanagishita wails. The 2 men drag him away. Huh. Guess he's gone then, Cheery says. She's already starting to pack up her things. Wait, what are you doing? I ask. Going home. Not much point sticking around. Going home? I mean, the demo sure ain't happening now. Anyhow, it was nice working with you. See ya. Moments later, Cheery is out the door. Now what do I do? Been left here all by myself, more or less at a total loss. Aww. Poor Tama. Our poor feline friend isn't going to get paid now that those debt collectors showed up and dragged her boss away. If a certain someone hadn't told the thugs how to get to the Nokane building, they probably wouldn't have caught Yanagishita. But the decision happens at 11:15. The right decision happens at 11:15. But who has to make it? Interesting. Let's see what happens here. Now that he doesn't have a sample of burning. Oh, wait. Is this new dialogue? I'll start from the next screen. Or maybe the one after this. Concentrate. Keep your eyes peeled, Sasayama. Wait. Sasayama gave Kano a pat on the backside and slipped away into the next car. The suspect, meanwhile, was still staring out the window. The announcer's electronic voice filled the train compartment. Next stop, Harajuku. Next stop, Harajuku. Huh? Kano almost cried out. The suspect was moving toward the exit door. Apparently he was only taking the train one station down the line. The train pulled into Harajuku station and the man got off. The area east of the Japan Rail Harajuku station, corresponding to Jingumai 1 Chome in Shibuya, once a bustling shukuba or post station where travelers could rest while journeying across the country. In modern times, it bustles instead with high schoolers after school displaying flashy youth fashion. That's a mouthful. Clothing and accessory stores and fast food restaurants line the streets. Many cutting-edge trends in Japanese youth culture get their start here. The detectives following him disembarked accordingly. The suspect walked along the platform and took a seat on an empty bench. Was he checking to see if he had a tail? Sticking around on the platform at a station where you just got off was pretty unusual behavior. Not wanting to arouse the man's suspicion, the investigators from the MPD made their way down the stairs as inconspicuously as they could. Kano, however, had a sudden inspiration and went to speak to one of the station attendants. Sorry to bother you, but I think I left something on that train just now. He tried to keep an eye on the man on the bench as he fed his story to the attendant. The suspect sat silently on the bench, attaché case clutched securely in his arms. He didn't really look like he was checking for a tail. Was he waiting here for someone else then? Before long, a train heading counterclockwise around the loop arrived. The man rose from the bench and stepped to the boarding area. Wait, what the heck? This guy got on the counterclockwise train. Wouldn't that just take him right back to Shibuya Station? The man boarded the train. Kano had no choice but to follow suit. Was this guy playing them? The suspect got off again once the train reached Shibuya. All he'd done was go to Harajuku and come right back. Kano reported into Kuze. The suspect has returned to Shibuya Station. Acknowledged. Keep tailing him. Kano felt himself growing increasingly paranoid. This criminal organization didn't seem too keen on getting away. And here was HQ giving these guys free rein. Something was off. He was sure of that. As he tailed the mark, Kano took out his phone. What were Tateno's instincts about the case right now? If the senior detective had any advice, Kano would love to hear it. He dialed Tateno's number. The line rang a few times, but nobody picked up. Probably he was too busy seeing to Atomi's safety. Kano felt bewildered. He'd probably been letting the suspect lead them. Wait, have I seen Tateno before? They'd been letting the suspect lead them around for over an hour now. During an abduction case, you generally didn't update the victim's family on any developments in case they tried to interfere. Kano could only imagine what the Osawa family was going through right now. After a short walk from Shibuya Station, the attaché case was handed off yet again. This time the recipient was a tall, dark-skinned man. Again, the Shibuya-based task force split into two groups in order to tail both suspects. Kano stuck with the man who had the case. As the previous man had done, the newest suspect wandered around Dogonzaka for a while. Repeatedly looping around and around the same locations was a weirdly roundabout way to make a series of handoffs. Excuse me, detective? Kano turned around with a start. Oh, hey, he said. I know you. It was Leland Palmer, the lecturer who had been an eyewitness to the kidnapping. The man practically radiated concern. How is Maria doing? Is she all right? I am very, worried for her. His Japanese was more halting now. My heart, it is with her family. Kano gave a quick look around. It didn't appear that they were being watched. Let's just continue with the investigation. If the syndicate spots us, my cover's blown. We're hosed. I can't stick around like this. Leland, I'm sorry, but at this stage I can't share any details. Is that so? Oh, yes, of course. Leland cast his eyes down and hung his head. Please, don't worry, though. We are still hard at work investigating. Ah, yes. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu. With that, Kano turned away from the lecturer and went back to tailing a suspect. He pulled his phone from his pocket. It was Rumi again. It was weird that she'd called twice when she knew he was in the middle of something important. Had something happened while she was waiting at the cafe with Shizuo? Kano picked up hurriedly. What's the matter? What's the matter? You know what the matter is. Rather than Rumi's soft soprano, it was a threatening Wait. What's the matter? You know what the matter is. Rather than Rumi's soft soprano, it It was a threatening masculine voice that came over the phone. Uh-oh. Kano felt his whole body stiffen with dread. Is this my father-in-law speaking? Don't remember being anyone's father-in-law. The speaker's tone was firm and flat. No, I know, I just, Kano found himself at a loss for words. So you're dating my daughter, huh? Sir, yes, sir. Kano barely squeaked out his reply. Thinking about getting married? Yes, sir. And speaking of which, I'd love the chance to sit down and have a nice long... Then how long are you gonna keep me waiting? Hurry up and get your ass over here. Oh, how very much Kano wished he could do exactly that. Sir, I would, but... Forget it. The words came in an angry huff. You can't have her. Goodbye. What? Sir, please wait. As Kano cried in desperation, he heard Rumi's voice on the other end of the line. Dad, you can't just use my phone like that. You were taking too long in the bathroom. Give it back. Rumi? Kano tried and failed to keep the heartbreak out of his voice. Sweetie, what's wrong? Your father just said he doesn't want us getting married. What? Dad? What did you say to my boyfriend? Listen to you. Calling that boy little pet names and whatnot. I think you're a little too attached. Daddy, you haven't even met him. That's why I told you to have him come see me. How long's he gonna make me wait? Kano listened as the two argued on the other end of the phone. The phone must be lying somewhere between them. This get any more awkward? Rumi, I'm sorry, Kano shouted apologetically into the mouthpiece. This is all my fault. Please, you don't have to fight like this. The phone clattered as Rumi scrambled to bring it to her cheek. No, I'm the one who should be sorry. Sorry for what? It was Sorry for what? It was Shizuo again, grumbling in the background. You have nothing to apologize for. I'll deal with my father, Rumi said hastily. You just focus on work, sweetie. I know you're in the middle of something really important. Thanks, Rumi. Kano was legitimately touched. I'll do my best. Kano hung up and went back to the task at hand, even more determined than ever. Oh shit. For Rumi's sake, not to mention the victims, he needed to focus on cracking this case. The man he was tailing was walking several meters ahead. There was no telling when Kuze might give the arrest order. Kano braced himself to spring into action the very instant the order came down. Mobile command all units. Once more the director's voice came in over the wireless. Was it time to make the arrest at last? We've identified the man who first picked up the attaché case by the statue of Hachiko. No arrest yet then, but still a crucial development. His name is Tariq Al-Karawan. He's got priors for larceny, illegal possession of narcotics, you name it. He belongs to a foreign criminal syndicate that's operating in Shibuya. Kano felt his apprehension rising. If this syndicate was behind the kidnapping, they were anything but amateurs. And though they might be leading the police on a wild goose chase, they certainly weren't playing around. Ooh. Juicy. So who could it have been that would have affected this timeline. Let's go to Osawa. Wealth, status, honor. None of these things mean anything to me. All I want is a peaceful life. Wow, we got a real Yoshikage Kire here. To put worry behind me. To stay calm and serene. To be free of worldly concerns. Free at any cost. A cheery rhythm pumped from the CD player set up against the study wall. It was the latest hit from Aya Kamiki, the songwriter sensation who was blowing up the pop charts. Kenji Osawa reached for the stereo remote on his desktop. He ratcheted the volume up a little louder. He looked like the sort of man who'd be more interested in classical music, but in fact he was a huge fan of the girl rock popular with middle schoolers. Closing his eyes, he swayed back and forth in time with the music, humming his favorite lyrics under his breath. But his movements faltered. It's no use. Aya's voice usually soothed whatever ailed him, but today even she couldn't help. Today, Osawa was a complete wreck in both body and mind. Mounds of paperwork were scattered across the desktop in his study. Okay. Got a virus researcher here. Don't tell me this is gonna become fucking, Okay. Wait a minute. I'm reading the paper here. Lead to a range of symptoms including general body acute pain, diarrhea along with bleeding, vomiting, hypovolemic shock. Could there have been a contaminated batch of that like weight loss drink? Could that weight loss drink have been the drink to give Kano was that the pain juice? It was the pain virus. All of it about viruses and vaccines. It had only been a week since he'd returned from a business trip to his company's branch office in the US, and he was slated to go back in another week's time. There was a truly staggering amount of work he needed to get through while he was at home. He picked up one of the papers, glanced at it aimlessly, then tossed it back onto the desk. Slumping back in his chair, he let out a long, deep sigh. He was in no mental state to work right now. A faint knock at the door barely roused him from his torpor. "Director, may I come in?" It was his vice director, Mamoru Tanaka. "Sure, the door's open." Tanaka came into the study. "I know it's not a great time, but..." Osawa could barely make out his words. He tapped the remote, lowering the volume of the music. Tanaka continued apologetically. A call came in from the lab. They're hoping for a response to the email they sent yesterday. I'm sure they don't need it today. Apparently they do need an answer as soon as possible, sir. I did ask them to give you some more time, but... I see, Osawa said warily. All right, then. Tanaka dipped his head slightly and slipped out of the room. Osawa contemplated his colleague. Tanaka was a man he could truly depend on. He has enough of his own work to do. He didn't need to come here again today, but he did. They had been working in close concert ever since Osawa had gotten back to Japan. Without Tanaka's support, there was no way he would be in a mindset to do any work at all right now. Sidling up to his computer, Osawa opened his email program and started answering the work-related messages. He reported on his business travel expenses, offered his opinions on capital investments, requested confirmation on current medicinal stockpiles. He worked with bleak detachment. None of this meant anything to him right now. Then a new email appeared in his inbox. The sender was identified simply as A. The subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa. The message body was blank, but there appeared to be multiple images attached. Ordinarily, Osawa would have deleted a message like this immediately, assuming that it contained some kind of virus. But the words South Africa drew his attention. Could this possibly be related to... He couldn't help but to wonder. For a long moment he hovered the cursor over one of the image files. At last, if spurred on by the upbeat rhythm in his ears, he double-clicked the mouse. What is this? The grainy photograph showed a large room with a dozen or so people laid out in beds. It appeared to be some sort of medical ward. Osawa felt a strange flutter in his chest. He quickly opened another image. This one showed a close-up of one of the patients in his bed. Large red blotches covered his face. A large volume of blood appeared to be dripping from his ears and nostrils. A cold shudder ran up Osawa's spine. What the hell? These symptoms. Osawa opened the remaining image files. Each new picture showed another one of the patients. They all appeared to be teetering on the brink of death. There was no doubt about it. These people were infected with the UA virus. The UA virus belongs to the family of Filoviridae, genus Uelicavirus. It is a member of the same family as the Ebola virus and causes UA virus fulminant hemorrhagic fever. These are medical words, and I am very bad at saying medical words. What am I worse at saying? Medical words or Japanese? Sound off in the comments below. It is capable of airborne transmission, although an infected individual cannot pass on the infection before symptoms manifest. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, have assigned the virus to Risk Group 4, for classification for the most dangerous infectious agents. So it is airborne transmission, so that puts a pin in my... So that puts a hole in my theory of burning whatever the fuck that Kano drank, being infected with the virus. But how? Questions tumbled through Osawa's mind. His fingers tapped out a quick message. He doubted he'd get a response, but he might as well try. Who are you? Where are these images from? The UA virus got its name from a Swahili word for flower. The virus is roughly 90 nanometers to 110 nanometers in diameter and 500 nanometers to 700 nanometers long. Because of its pronounced sickle-like shape, it is sometimes known as the sickle of death. It possesses a viral envelope, the surface of which is coated with spike-shaped protein protuberances. Supposedly, this was based on the fact that the propagated form of the virus resembled the petals of a flower. Despite the flowery name, however, the disease was anything but pretty. Uwa didn't just mean flower, it also meant to kill. And as the name suggested, the virus had a mortality rate of 100% in those it managed to infect. Because most details regarding the Uwa virus have been suppressed, cases of Uwa infection are largely unknown to the world at large. Because all patients known to be infected with the virus on official record have died within a short time frame, the mortality rate is given as 100%. As the incidence of known cases grows, the number may drop below 100%, but the mortality rate will likely remain extraordinarily high. Moreover, there was a very short incubation period between the infection, the onset of symptoms, and death. Inhaled viral particles can spread from the lungs to the lymph nodes, and from there disperse throughout the body. The virus propagates in several places, including liver cells and macrophages, a component of the immune system, and destroys the endothelial cells within blood vessels. Upon reaching the brain, it forms a neural sludge of blood mixed with other bodily fluids. Within roughly 12 hours, bleeding would set in throughout the body, everywhere but the bones and muscles, with lethal results. Due to its incredibly high mortality rate, the disease's very existence has been kept hidden from public knowledge. Osawa's computer chimed to signify the arrival of a new email. The sender was A. He hurried to open the message. Once again, the subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa. Your crimes. Osawa stared at those two words. My crimes? That left him only with further questions. He looked again at the images from the previous email. What makes any of this my crimes? He could see that the patient's bleeding was severe. He estimated that several hours had passed since the onset of the disease. It wouldn't be long before their lives were cut short. To feel that agony, that suffering, and then to perish. Am I to blame for that? Another faint knock came at the door. Darling? You have a moment? It was his wife, I. Yes, come in. Oh, shit. I stepped into the study, the room filled with the scent of her perfume. Have you reconsidered the whole America thing? She asked. This again? Osawa thought sullenly to himself. Please, he said. Can we not discuss this right now? If not now, then when? You know this isn't a decision to make on your own. On his latest business trip, a major American pharmaceutical firm had attempted to headhunt him, asking him to join them and to be among the top researchers in the world. The money and prestige held no interest for him, and he was reluctant to turn his back on Okoshi Pharmaceutical after his many years of service. Okoshi Pharmaceutical, the pharmaceutical company for which Kenji Osawa works. It is a major corporation with a solid sales network both domestically and internationally, and an annual turnover of 1 trillion yen. It holds patents for several medications even, that are in demand worldwide and is influential at the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare and other political institutions. The company employs roughly 7,000 people, including 600 researchers. So wait. Okay. I'm not starting to think. I'm starting to get a bigger picture of, like, there's more to this kidnapping than just a girl getting kidnapped and a crime syndicate doing it. Right? Because these two are obviously the parents of the girl who got kidnapped. So they're not going after the girl. I think they're after something bigger. Nonetheless, he was intrigued by the offer. It would mean the chance to conduct his virus research in a much better funded environment. Taking the job would necessitate relocating to the US, however. When he'd mentioned the possibility of emigrating to she'd shot down the idea on the spot. Her opposition was understandable. Ai's father, Suguru Makino, was a member of Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' board of directors. No way was he going to let Osawa jump ship to another company. Darling, please. I drew in closer to him. Think about it from my perspective. If you leave for America, what am I supposed to tell my father? He'd gotten so used to it, that grating whine of hers. Have you considered what might happen to Okoshi if you leave, dear? We can discuss that once all this is finished. Osawa kept his voice as level as he could. You do remember that you're a director, right? I said. You have responsibilities. Stop thinking about yourself so much. With a sour look, I turned and departed. Well, he had known that moving to America would never be a simple matter, regardless of what his wife thought about it. There was another reason, however, the antiviral agent that he had developed at Okoshi. A therapeutic drug used to treat viral infections. Examples include the drugs used against influenza and HIV. These treatments do not eliminate the infection, rather, they simply inhibit the development of the disease. There are still many issues with such drugs, including the risk that treated viruses possess or develop a resistance that makes the treatment ineffective. Academic institutions and pharmaceutical companies worldwide devote tremendous resources to further advancing the field of antiviral medicine. After the UA virus was discovered, infectious research facilities worldwide had thrown themselves into a top-secret effort to develop a vaccine. Vaccines function by safely introducing a harmless or attenuated version of a virus or other pathogen into the human body. This triggers the body to produce antibodies against the pathogen, making it difficult for the dangerous version to take hold. But Makino had ordered Osawa to work on creating an antiviral agent, not a vaccine. A vaccine immunized the subject in order to prevent infection in the first place. Conversely, an antiviral agent could be used to treat patients already infected. It was a so-called wonder drug for combating the virus itself. Creating such a drug was far easier said than done. Developing the antiviral had been a long, arduous road. Only after years of research had Osawa's team succeeded in identifying a substance that might qualify as an antiviral agent, or UA. In theory, if it was administered during the virus's initial stages, 100% recovery could be attained. Data also suggested an 80% survival rate for patients treated shortly after the onset of symptoms. But there was a fatal flaw with the new antiviral agent. The side effects on the body were unusually potent. If it was administered in amounts beyond a certain threshold, it was linked to life-threatening complications. For a time, the research was at an impasse. It had seemed that the drug had to be administered in high volume to combat the explosive propagation of the UA virus. But then Osawa had received some fortuitous news. Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' nanotechnology branch had engineered a cutting-edge device known as the DDS. Technology created and/or operated on an extremely small scale, often measured in nanometers. There are 1 billion nanometers in a meter. Some nanotech devices are literally regulated on the atomic level. The possibilities are ever expanding in practical fields, such as medicine and material science. The United States is among the world leaders in the push for research and development. Acronym for the Drug Delivery System. Such a system administers ultra-microscopic drug capsules to a targeted area of the body. Red mode. Osawa had jumped on it immediately. By administering his antiviral agent with the nanotech DDS, he was able to use the smaller amounts of the drug to quash the UA virus with precision. Because a DDS can be used to deliver a drug with pinpoint precision and only where it is needed, it can greatly reduce the side effects of even very potent drugs. The DDS, developed by Okoshi Pharmaceutical, utilizes advanced high-tech polymers, which ensure that the capsules containing the drugs are fully broken down and eliminated from the body roughly 1 week after administration. Wow. The procedure was a huge success. There was a marked increase of the drug's efficacy, along with the expected decrease in adverse side effects. Pharmaceutical is said to have a positive effect if its use brings about the desired results when treating a medical condition, but many drugs create unwanted or unforeseen adverse effects as well. Given the extreme complexity of most drugs' interaction with the human body, nearly any medicine can have both positive and negative effects. The effects had been confirmed via animal testing on monkeys, and now the antiviral was ready for the final development stages, clinical trials on humans. Experiments involving drugs or medical techniques tested on animals to confirm their safety before they are used on humans. The 1964 Declaration of Helsinki, which lays out ethical standards for human experimentation, advocates responsible animal testing, but many animal rights advocates regard such testing as a form of animal cruelty. And when a new drug is being prepared for government approval, after it has been tested on animals, it must pass tests on humans, clinical trials, that evaluate its safety and suitability. Such tests are frequently conducted on both patients and healthy individuals. In Japan, the development of new drugs is often hindered by insufficient legal infrastructure for conducting clinical trials, resulting in a smaller knowledge base and fewer opportunities for testing. But the very existence of this new wonder drug was still a secret. No doubt Okoshi's leadership would be reluctant to see Osawa, the drug's lead researcher, transferred to another company. Still, it wasn't completely outside the realm of possibility. Once the antiviral was out of development and announced to the public, Osawa would be free and clear. For that very reason, he was loath to cause any friction over the drug right now. This anxiety only magnified his concern about the email he just received. Osawa called up Tanaka over the intercom. There's something I want to show you. Could you come in here? He needed a second opinion, and Tanaka could be relied upon. Osawa opened the door the moment Tanaka knocked. He looked around before ushering his vice director inside. What's this about, sir? This. Osawa showed him one of the images. Tanaka's face went pale. can't be. Tanaka clearly recognized the symptoms of the UA virus. Any idea what this is about? Osawa asked. No, sir. These images were just emailed to me. The subject line says 1 year ago, South Africa. That would put it around the same time as the most recent run of infections, wouldn't it, sir? But that information isn't... Tanaka trailed off. Osawa nodded. The thing I don't understand is why these pictures were sent to me. Osawa opened the other email from A. The second message I got says that these pictures are my crimes. I'll look into this on my end, sir, Tanaka said. He hesitated uncomfortably. Sir, just to make sure, Are you asking about what I think you're asking about? Osawa said. Tanaka gave a slight nod. Understood, Osawa said. Don't worry. I won't trouble you. I appreciate that, sir. Visibly relieved, Tanaka left the study. Osawa brought up a folder marked UA_virus on his screen. Within the folder were enlarged images of the virus itself. He double-clicked one of the images. It blew up on the monitor to reveal the pathogen in intricate detail. A specimen of the UA virus was approximately 100 nanometers in diameter. 10,000 of them in line would take up barely a millimeter. But a single tiny virion, upon entering the human body, could become 2,000 in an hour. That speed of multiplication was nothing short of astonishing. Even the Ebola virus had a typical incubation period of 7 days or so before infectees developed symptoms. Ebola! A virus of the family Filoviridae that causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever. Currently, 5 characterized species are known: Thai forest, Sudan, Reston, Zaire, and Bundibugyo. Ebola is widely known for its high mortality rate, 53% for the Sudan form, 88% for Zaire, but the Reston variety discovered in monkeys that had been brought into the US has displayed no pathogenicity in humans. For influenza, it was 1 or 2, but the onset of the UA virus happened in a mere 12 hours. Osawa viewed the image slideshow from the virus's propagation mechanism. It was a fascinating sight, no matter how many times he looked at it. Viruses existed to multiply, nothing more. They had no motives, no driving logic. Nothing but simple multiplication. To Osawa, that fact held a certain air of mystery. If viruses had emotions, how would they feel about their lives? He had thrown himself into virus research in search of answers to questions like that, answers that no man could truly know. His development of the antiviral agent had really been nothing more than another job responsibility. He felt no particular sense of duty to protect people from a killer virus. He was just happy for a chance to play around with the UA day after day. Another email arrived in his inbox. The sender, A. The subject line, 1 year ago, South Africa. Again. Osawa read the message. Do not look away. These are your crimes. This time, there were 4 images attached. Osawa proceeded to open each of them in turn. The first shocked Osawa so much that he felt like he'd been punched in the head. One of the UA patients from the earlier images was being injected with something. No. Osawa muttered to himself. It can't be. The second image showed one of the infected, hunched over in pain, vomiting up blood. The symptoms had already manifested, but Osawa thought he could see that some degree of life had come back into the patient's eyes. He rushed to open the third image. It showed a morgue, piled high with corpses. The rictus of anguish on the dead faces made them look no longer human. Various fluids seeped from the eyes and nostrils. The lymph nodes were grotesquely swollen. Lymph nodes, small organs that function as a part of the lymphatic system in mammals. When a foreign substance invades the body, the lymph nodes detect it, prompting the production of white blood cells such as lymphocytes and macrophages to consume the invader. A viral infection sometimes causes the lymph nodes to swell up as a result of increased activity. There were hospital beds, stained with massive amounts of blood and gastric fluids. Next came the fourth and final image. More corpses. They had badges affixed to their chests with various labels. 6 hours passed, 12 hours passed, and 18 hours passed. It looked as if someone had been attempting live trials with this antiviral agent. Osawa didn't consider the antiviral agent ready for release, but that was because his team hadn't conducted clinical trials on humans yet. And there was a good reason why such trials hadn't been conducted. There was no way to test the efficacy of the drug without an infected patient. To run a proper clinical test, someone would first need to be infected with the UA virus. No matter how effective animal testing had been, if the drug had proved ineffective on humans, that person would have a guaranteed death sentence. It was unthinkable to run trials that involved such a deadly risk. And yet, as he looked over the images again and again, Osawa became certain. Without his knowledge, someone, presumably from Okoshi Pharmaceutical, had conducted human testing with the antiviral agent. The time markers on the corpses in the fourth image were surely there to mark the time elapsed since the onset of symptoms. Thorough trial work would test the drug's effectiveness in those time frames. Osawa slammed his fist on the desk, enraged. This was nothing short of vile human experimentation in the guise of clinical testing. The people responsible could not be allowed to get away with this. There was only one person Osawa could trust to keep this under wraps: his boss, Makino. He reached for his phone to call Makino, but he stopped short as soon as he picked up the receiver. He knew he was in no state of mind to have a calm, reasoned conversation right now. Turning to the CD player, he put on Aya Kamiki's latest album. Leaning back in his chair, he surrendered himself to her soothing tones. Bit by bit, he could feel himself returning to a calmer emotional state. There had been a time when Osawa hadn't listened to music at all. In fact, he'd had no interest in the arts in general. Music, painting, cinema. It was only due to a simple coincidence that he had found Aya Kamiki. His daughter had asked for a CD as a birthday present, so he'd swung by the store to pick one up. Since Kamiki's new album had just come out, there was a display for it in front of the shop. Something about the bright, colorful album packaging had drawn him in. After a time, Osawa could feel himself growing calmer. He took a nice deep breath. And then dialed up Makino. "Has there been any progress?" Makino asked as soon as he picked up. His voice was somber. "No," Osawa said. "Nothing much yet." A tiny sigh came in from the other end of the line. "I see. Then what can I do for you?" Sir, I'll just get right to the point. Have you conducted clinical trials using the antiviral drug? Makino didn't respond right away. What makes you think that? He asked at last. Osawa described the emails he'd received. When he'd finished, Makino let out his breath in surprise. Not over the phone, he said. We'll discuss this in person. I'll head over to your place when I'm done here. As soon as possible, sir. As soon as I can manage, Makino said. You're not the only person who's busy. With that, Makino hung up. There was no doubt about it, then. There had been human testing. Oh, fuck. Wait. Wait. I wonder if that guy in the car was Makino. In the taxi cab earlier. Osawa went to let Tanaka know he'd be meeting with Makino. Maybe not, I don't know. A stolid-looking man in the hallway, almost as if he'd been waiting for Osawa to emerge. Pardon me, Mr. Osawa, but could you come with me for a minute? The detectives assembled in the living room all wore grave expressions. The room was brimming with tension, and Osawa felt it ramp up even further as he entered. What is it? He asked. Has something happened? The man who had come to find him turned to speak, hesitating at first. Yes, it turns out that your other daughter, Hitomi, has been abducted by an unknown party. Abducted? Osawa's mind whirled. What are you talking about? Maria's the one who's been abducted. No, sir, you don't understand. I'm saying that Hitomi has also been abducted, in addition to Maria. Don't be ridiculous. The night before, his daughter Maria gets kidnapped, and this morning his other daughter, Hitomi, gets carried off when she goes to deliver the ransom. He never heard anything more outrageous in his life. We're sorry, sir. The detective was with her, but the police went on to explain that Hitomi had somehow managed to end up all by herself. And while she was alone, several individuals had forced her into a car and driven off. Osawa could barely comprehend what they were saying. His mind was in a fog. The detective's words seemed to grow quieter and quieter. Osawa's strength drained from his body. His ability to process external stimuli began to drift far, far away. It's not possible. It can't be. Could no one keep them safe? Not me. Not anyone? My girls, they... Hitomi, Maria. It's not true. This is all just a bad dream. Some kind of sick joke. It's not true. It's all just a bad dream. It's a lie, the twisted joke. Someone made this all up. Stop it. Stop saying this. I don't want to hear it. Tell me it's all a lie. Tell me this isn't true. Tell me... Slowly, the ceiling began to spin. Then Osawa's vision went awash with white. The worst case scenario. Osawa had a complete mental breakdown when he learned that not just one, but both of his daughters were kidnapped. But surely there has to be someone who can keep Hitomi safe. She's been on the run with Achi, but just what are they up to? The key to changing her fate and her father's lies with Achi's decision at 11:05. Well, let's see what Achi's doing. At last we saw him, he was at gunpoint. The man with the cane aimed his gun at Hitomi, his face devoid of emotion. Please, please, the girl said, trembling. Why are you doing this? But the man did not reply. Quickly, Achi stepped in between Hitomi and the gun, spreading his arms wide. Stop, he said in English, one of the few English words he knew. He quickly reverted back to Japanese. Who the hell are you? Still, the man did not respond. You know this guy, Hitomi? No. Achi was sure he'd never seen the man either. What are you after? Money? 'Cause if you are, boy, are you wasting your time chasing us. The man furrowed his brow, adjusting his point of aim to Achi's face. His bloodthirsty gaze left Achi no doubt that he was willing to pull the trigger. Reflexively, Achi took a step back, his foot clattering against a discarded beer bottle. We're going to get gunned down for sure, unless we can find a way to catch this guy off guard. Didn't need to be much. If Achi could just distract the gunman for a moment, buy himself the briefest window. Shoot me then. Go on, do it. He stepped forward as he shouted, hoping the provocation would confuse the guy for just long enough. Even as Achi moved, the gunman's attention was distracted for an instant by a sudden sound. The phone in his breast pocket was ringing. Seeing his chance, Achi... snatched the... Oh, shit. Seeing his chance, Achi snatched up the beer bottle and swung it at the assassin. The man narrowly avoided being struck, but he staggered wildly off balance. Tomi! Achi grabbed her by the hand and dashed out off the club. The two sprinted away through the side streets and alleys of Shibuya. Achi began to feel as if they were running some maddening maze. Before long, the two had made it almost as far as Aoyama. Wait up. Huh? Achi, wait up! Achi glanced back at Hitomi. Ah, my bad. Guess we've been running pretty hard. You tired? Hitomi shook her head. No, it's just, I have to get to Dogenzaka. Dogenzaka? What for? What could she possibly need to do there now? That's what I was told when I handed over the attaché case. The man leaned in to whisper to Hitomi as he reached out for the case. You're going to do exactly as I tell you. 2 things. He wore a cool, feigned smile as if this were some casual conversation. First, you're going to go to Dogenzaka and get in the blue van there. Hitomi nodded wordlessly. Second, you will not attempt to contact either the police or your family in the meantime. His chilling tone brooked no argument. Just those 2 things, and we'll let your sister go. Hitomi nodded again. The man flashed her a big, bright grin. Okay then. Give me the money. A blue van in Dogenzaka, huh? Achi muttered. So that's why you said the police were a no-go. Yes, exactly. Tomi's voice betrayed her desperation. I wonder if your sister's in that van then. If she is, then we gotta hurry. The issue lay in how to get to Dogenzaka. They could probably avoid their pursuer if they kept to the streets only the locals usually knew about. That meant staying off the more well-trafficked routes like Roppongi-dori or the stretch between Miyama Suzuka and the station. The side roads south of the station were their best bet. It was going to be a long detour. Alright, come on. Turning, Achi headed back the way they'd come. After a moment's confusion, Hitomi followed. Achi? There was a note of worry in her voice. Hey, don't sweat it. I actually live in Dogenzaka. We're headed right back to my old neighborhood. Hitomi bowed her head. Thank you so much. Hey, it's no problem. I had to head home anyway. Achi gave her a grin, and she cracked a tiny smile of her own. Hey, you two. You got a minute? Oh, shit. Achi looked around. A pair of men approached from across the street. There was something shady looking about them. Achi's protective instincts kicked in, and he stepped in front of Hitomi. If these guys meant trouble, he wanted to be ready. I just want to ask you something. The younger of the two men drew in closer, a sharp gleam in his eye. Achi braced himself. Ask us what? You know where the Nokane building is? The man held up a flyer. It was for some sort of health food sales demo. Come on, man, the Nokane building. Know where it is or not? Achi knew the name. Wasn't that one of the buildings on Center Guy? That was near Dogenzaka, the same direction he was going. I don't like the thought of these two following Hitomi and me. Achi pointed them in the opposite direction from Center Guy. Pretty sure it's that way, he said. Thanks, man. Sorry to bug you. The two men headed off towards the main road. Achi and Hitomi hurried onward, following the sparsely trafficked side streets towards Dogenzaka. I don't think I even knew this part of Shibuya was here, Hitomi said as she looked around. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I used to mess around in this neighborhood when I was a kid. The area was a mishmash of rundown residences and office buildings. Almost nobody ever comes here unless they live or work on one of these streets. Check it out. Over there, a rare first-hand glimpse of the Shibuya River. A minor river that runs from the Miyamasu Bridge to the Tengen Bridge, depicted in the 36 views of Mount Fuji by Edo period ukiyo-e artist Hokusai. Hokusai! In Hokusai's time, fireflies were collected from the Shibuya River and presented to the shogun, lending credence to the idea that the river was indeed clean in the past. Have you always lived in Shibuya, Achi? Yup, born and raised. Achi bent down to pick up a piece of trash from the roadside. That's why I do this. It just pisses me off to see folks make a mess of this place. He picked up another piece of trash. I don't have a job, so I just pick up garbage every day. Man, what am I even doing? Like, cleanup even matters right now. Tomi took a long, hard look at his face. What? He demanded. What is it? You're a strange one, Achi. That's so? She was right, of course. It was sort of strange collecting trash every day instead of getting a job. He had his reasons for it, but they weren't important right now. Right now, the important thing was getting Hitomi to Dogenzaka. Come on, he murmured. A sudden, angry shout broke the silence as they hurried along. Hey, hold it right there! Achi and Hitomi stopped, but the shout wasn't directed at them. Further up the road, a group of thuggish-looking men were having some kind of argument. The man who was shouting had grabbed one of the others by the neck. Idiots! And you still got the gall to call yourselves SOS? The Studs of Shibuya. A youth gang operating out of Shibuya, founded by Achi Endo. Oh, fuck. Its current leader is Susumu Anishizawa. I mean, yeah, Susumu, but the other men standing around looked distinctly uncomfortable. Takes money to run an organization. No, I know, and since it's not like you're an Achi or nothing, I thought you could maybe spare some help from that on that front, boss. Yeah, this saxophone is nuts. The top dog, the man in charge, the head honcho. Here it refers to the leader of SOS, Susumu. A change in leadership can really shake up an organization. The new boss's personality and disposition are a huge factor in whether the group continues to prosper. The fact that Susumu is being asked to spare some help on the monetary front suggests that he still has things to learn about being in charge. Hitomi looked at Achi when the stranger spoke his name. He smiled awkwardly, then turned back to the altercation. Shut your mouth, Susumu barked. How dare you say Achi's name in my presence? Hey, Achi cried out. What was that? Was that about? What was that about me? As soon as they saw him, the other men went pale. Achi kept his tone casual as he strolled up to the group. Susumu, you can't just give the guy a beatdown in broad daylight. To mess someone up super bad usually... Okay. Don't want to shock the upstanding people of our fair city. Achi. Susumu glared. Can we drop the pleasantries? Aight, Achi replied with a hint of a sneer. You got it, Susumu. I'd like to point out we're not on a first-name basis. With that, Susumu turned and stalked away. His buddies followed suit, leaving Achi and Hitomi alone again. Did you know that guy? Hitomi asked. His name's Susumu Nishizawa. And yeah, I know him. Or I thought I did. Used to be friends way back. He and those guys, we're all part of the same crew, but I bailed a little while ago. Achi fell silent. To his great relief, Hitomi didn't pry further. It's fucking nuts. Achi and Hitomi had gone a short distance further when he caught sight of a man picking something up alongside the train tracks. Huh. No wonder. Achi went over to him. Hey man, you picking up trash by any chance? Huh? The man let out a panicked shout. Taisei Yasuda, 35 years old. Just opened up a knick-knack shop in Shibuya. Achi knows Shibuya like his own backyard, but this Yasuda guy is new enough that Achi doesn't recognize him. Sorry, I just kinda looked like that's what you wait. Sorry. It just kinda looked like that's what you're doing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm picking up the trash. Of course. The guy seemed pretty unnerved. Like, I just got to thinking, man, this place is filthy. Wait. Right on. Achi clasped the man's hand in his own. Someone else who gets it. They do? Totally. I see all this trash all over the place and I can't stand it. Oh, yeah, sure. The man breathed a sigh of relief. I can't stand it when someone throws away something when it can still be useful. Or wait. No, wait. Can't stand it when someone throws something away when it can still be useful. I hear that. Wait. Who am I voicing here? That's the spirit, haha. Achi pulled out the trash he had stuffed in his pocket. Here we go. Huh? Go ahead. Have all of it. The man looked dumbfounded. Usually I go around picking up the trash around here. I've got a little thing I gotta do today. You got it from here. I'm counting on you. What? Actually, I'm kind of... Great, thanks. Achi beamed in approval, then rejoined Hitomi and headed down the street. Probably should. The man let out a sigh. Fine. Who is this guy? Slipping through a narrow back alley, they came out near the top of Dogenzaka. Achi looked down the hill but didn't see a blue van anywhere. He and Hitomi started making their way down toward Shibuya Station. Hitomi muttered to herself, "Don't see it parked around here." Her face twisted up with worry. It was a lot harder to find street parking closer to the station. "Hitomi, hold up." Achi had a sudden idea. He darted into a nearby soba restaurant, mentioning for Hitomi to follow. "Hey, he called out to the proprietress, a sharp-eyed, middle-aged woman. "You're looking as lovely as ever today, I see." "Oh, Achi! Are you done collecting trash for the day?" The lady took a look at Hitomi, her eyes lighting up. "Maki Yaneda. When she was 19, she happened to stop by this place and was captivated by the chilled curry soba. By day's end, she had decided to make the restaurant her new home. Married the owner at age 22, and they managed to manage the establishment together. Last year, her husband of 30 years passed away. Now she safeguards the generations-old secrets of chilled curry soba on her own." "Is this your girlfriend?" "Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing like that." The proprietress was undeterred. "Oh, she looks just like a model. She's the spitting image of me at that age. My. Achi's got himself a girlfriend." "It's not like that. I said it's not like that." The woman waved Hitomi over. "Now, you know Achi's got a bit of a mouth on him, and he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's a sweet boy." Okay." Hitomi forced a polite smile to her face. "We'll try to deny it, but don't you listen. Has he told you about Suzune?" "Hmm? Ma'am, please." She jumped in on the conversation. "You gotta hear me out." "Whatever's the matter? I'm just trying to talk up your good points." "Have you seen a van parked around here?" "A van? Let me think. Yes, come to think of it, there was. A blue one," she added confidently. Hitomi leaned forward. "Where is it now?" she asked. Well, I'm not really sure. I don't keep a close eye on things outside, after all." Hitomi slumped. "I see. I know it doesn't look it, but I've been quite busy today. The man who makes my noodles came by earlier and settled accounts, and we fought over it. No head for finances, that one. That's his problem, honestly. And on top of that, of course my part-timer Masa had to have off today. Honestly." A first-year student at Midoriyama Academy, a sweet young man who works as a part-time delivery driver for Dogen Hut and sends all his leftover money to his mother out in the country. Lately, however, he's gotten himself a girlfriend, and he's been sending money back home less frequently. His noodle house job doesn't pay enough to support his mom and cover his dating expenses, so he's scheming for a way to make it rich quick. Achi frowned. Had she really seen a blue van, or was she just being chatty? I'm gonna go with A, since that seems more interesting. Older women who ran tobacco shops or noodle houses did seem to have a knack for spotting details. Achi decided to follow up some more. "Was there any..." My god, I, heard the plate clang in the background, and I thought a plate literally was clanging, in the house. "Was there anything unusual about this van?" "Well, let me think." The woman frowned, pausing a moment in thought. "Aha!" A flash of recollection shone in her eye. "That's right, now I remember. I think there was some foreigner sitting inside." Achi and Hitomi exchanged glances. "Yes, I'm sure of it. The man who makes my noodles said he saw it too." Was there anything else? Hitomi asked. No, not that I can remember." Hitomi hung her head in frustration as they left the soba shop. Achi did his best to cheer her up. Hey, we might still find that car. Let's try waiting around here for a while. Just waiting? What good will that do? It's possible that they went looking for you when they didn't show, Achi said. Maybe they'll come back, you know. He sat down on the edge of a planter outside the restaurant. But the criminals already have the money, she said anxiously. Even Achi understood the implications. Now that the crooks had the ransom, their hostage was nothing but a liability. Why take the risk of letting her go when they already had what they wanted? The situation was bad. Very bad. Still, just running around Shibuya willy-nilly was only going to tire and frustrate them. Achi wanted to make sure Hitomi had the chance for a little break. We don't have anywhere else to look, so let's just give it 10 minutes, okay? He said. Hitomi seemed unconvinced. She looked like she might march off down Dogonzaka at any moment. I understand how you must feel, but you know what they say. Slow and steady, stay in place. Hitomi burst out laughing. What's so funny? It's slow and steady wins the race. For real? Hitomi smiled and sat down beside him. All right, she said. We can wait here for 10 minutes. Cool. We've run enough races today already, right? Hitomi kept her eyes on the cars passing through Dogonzaka for a while. Then she murmured softly to Achi. Thank you so much for everything, really. You can thank me after we find this van. I'm sure if I'd been by myself, I'd been too much of a panic to do anything. What can I say? I try to keep my head up and my face and face things as they come. Quite the optimist, aren't you? Achi grinned. He tried to recall what optimist meant. He was pretty sure it had something to do with doctors. Or maybe glasses. The shy, sweet look on Hitomi's face as she said it, though, made him figure it probably wasn't a bad thing, whatever it was. Cars drifted on by, one after the other, but they saw no sign of a blue van. Yeah, because they're facing a fucking wall! They're not even looking out of the street to find a blue van! After a while, even Achi began to grow impatient. This was starting to feel like a waste of time. And then... Tommy, look! There it was. Oh, shit. So this event happens at 11:50. Minori Kawa. Huh. Well, I think I've done enough talking for tonight. And that is a very interesting note to leave off on. So I will stop here for tonight, and I will continue this sometime. Thank you all so very much for coming to the stream tonight. It means a lot to have you all here. And I hope you all have a great night and have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody, and a good night. Bye-bye.